Welcome, everybody, to Wall Street Reporter's next Superstock live streaming July 19th, 2022. We are back with NexTechAR, NEXCF. And, as always, we bring, our goal is to bring you those stocks which have a 10x to 100x upside potential. Companies going after massive market opportunities at a key inflection point, multiple catalysts in place. We've had, already 9 of these stocks that have increased between 1,000 and 5,000% over the last months. And, and NexTech is one of them. Now there's going to be a spin out, which is ARWay, and that is going to be the focus of today's interview with Paul. Paul is going to be heading up ARWay. That's going to be spinning out next couple of few months. So again, the whole point of this is, guys, ask your questions. That's the whole idea for today's live stream. Ask your questions and then decide for yourself if, NexTech, ARWay, whatever, could be that next, 10-bagger plus. With that said, Paul, welcome.
Well, thank you, Jack. And I noticed Evan might be in the holding room.
Hang on a second. Oh, I see he's here. Hang on. Evan, are you joining us today?
If you want me, I'm happy to join.
Okay. How about I start off with Paul and then bring you back in a couple minutes?
Sure.
Okay, hang on. Let me just because I want to talk about the ARWay, and then I want to get your insight onto what's going on.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Don't go anywhere. Don't go away.
I'm gonna go eat lunch.
Grab a coffee.
We'll have you for the audience questions, for the Q&A part. Stick around because we're going to have a lot of questions. That's going to be the big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to run late as usual, so be patient.
Be patient.
I'll see you in just a second. Okay, so Paul, big news is today you came out with a news release on the again the big idea is there's going to be a spin out of this AR metaverse mapping platform. AR, so it's ARWay. Is it ARWay or ARWay? What is it? How do you pronounce it?
Well, we pronounce it ARWay. Our friends over the pond in the UK, ARWay. But it's an augmented reality wayfinding platform. And simply put, Jack, it's probably the only no-code spatial computing platform on the market. It's a 100% pure play. As you know, and we've been mentioning this for several months now, we've been in stealth mode, quietly building the platform out. We've got a phenomenal engineering product development team, very, very tight with our early adopter community. So our go-to-market, user experience, product marketing teams are fully engaged, as are our sales and marketing organizations, in working daily with a lot of these early adopters to truly finesse the rollout. We today announced the release of version 1.1, which is easily available for any early adopter to come in and play with. We've got a number signing up. We're getting 3 or 4 a day. Registering to speak to us specifically on use cases. I had one just as I was in your holding room, waiting just now.
Things are ramping up. I think the idea for today's news is, this is, things are really ramping up. We're getting, you're getting ready to launch this, and we had a demo. I think we could, maybe we'll come back as we get closer to the spin out date. We'll probably talk more about it. So,
I brought a demo with me today.
Oh, you have a demo? You want to show a demo?
I'm gonna spin you through the whole thing.
Paul, I think before you even show the demo, I think I had an insight before we did this live stream. I thought, wow, you know what? This AR mapping, I don't think people realize how big of a deal it is.
Oh, yeah.
But it's very similar to GPS. I mean, when GPS came out, I don't think anybody really knew how big of a deal it is. I remember when it came out, I didn't use GPS. I didn't get GPS until I'm a late adapter, so I got an iPhone. I think in 2008, whatever it is, and then and it was wow. You can drive around and it'll tell you, because I was living in LA and at the time, and I don't know if you know this, but they don't really have the streets. Everything is really bizarre. When I moved there, the first thing said, "Oh, you got to get this book. It's called a Thomas Guide," which is a book of. You heard of this?
Yeah. I've lived in LA. I know exactly.
It's insane. Basically, to find, you got to open this book and look up. It was insane, and I think the GPS really made it possible for people to move around. Commerce exploded. And now, it changed the world. We take it for granted now, but this AR maps could be as big as GPS. And look, we know what happened with Garmin and some of the GPS stock. Garmin went up 10x, more than 10x. So this thing is like the next wave of GPS. Is that fair to say, or am I like exaggerating?
Absolutely. And it's, I would say it's GPS plus, and for a couple of reasons. The first is that, the idea of wayfinding indoors, first of all, is technically a fundamental challenge. And so we've been able to overcome that. And then more elegantly, we've been able to do it in a no coding environment. So you don't need to be, quote, a programmer who may understand the GPS stack and its use, et cetera. You can be guys like you and I, Jack, who know how to whip out PowerPoint, bring up StreamYard, and do Teams or Zoom. We wanted to make it that simple. And, when you think about the market today, and I'll show you this in our little demo, but truly, particularly after COVID, visitors are everywhere. I mean, people are going into buildings, malls, retail. I mean, it's nonstop. And so we're seeing so much additional demand around that. Even this morning, I was on with one of our partners in the UK, working with us in the EMEA region, and just the amount of interest that they're getting as a spatial studio agency using our platform is extraordinary. So let me bring the deck up, take you through it a little bit, give you a bit of a demo, and then we feel free to talk as we go through this.
And then hopefully we'll get some good questions, because I know. Let's get this.
So let me just share let me share my screen, because I'm notorious for starting these things, and then about 3 slides in, somebody's like, Duffy, you got to share your screen, right? All righty, here we go. Share slide, share screen.
Okay, it's not.
There we go.
Oh, here we go. Okay. So I see now the main. If you could, I think you have to share the app, right? Okay, there we go. Okay,
there we go.
There we go. Okay. And if you want to just show the main, the main. Okay.
How's she looking? Good. All right.
Looks great. Okay.
All right. So first off, intro, new logo, and this is all part of us muscling up for the spin out. As I talked about, the marketing, the sales, all the operational minutia that goes into really bringing this thing into market is well underway. Great group of people that we're working with. Obviously, it's NexTech. And, as we leg into the market right now, the interest is really strong. So, we've really landed on this no-code spatial computing platform for the real-world metaverse. And I'll just remind the viewers a little bit of the market and the scale and why the GPS, analogy is so appropriate. Then I'm just going to spin you through the app, just show it to you. Let's play with it. Well, I literally made a spatial this morning in here, and we'll talk specifically about some use cases and then a little bit more about our release schedule. But this is, Jack, why we're so excited. This market is massive. The acronym PLAN, positioning, localization, and navigation. I mean, in the visitor economy, effectively everything from retails to hospitals to stadiums, museums, even workplaces, all require AR wayfinding. We're finding that virtually everybody we talk to are noticing that users have no trouble activating their phone, getting their little, notifications, their chevrons, as we call it, or their tour to their destination. And the fact is, because of our platform, users are able to easily recreate content and experiences in real time. So, you don't need to spend a lot of time building something, package it up, and then, hope everybody uses it. You can be modifying this thing several times a day based on the traffic and the pickup. And so what we view as an ideal customer profile sits well over 1 million identified buyers. And we know, based on sort of how it Pareto's out on pricing, we're selling this as a monthly recurring revenue model. We know that the prices will fluctuate, but on average, we'll have about 15 grand of average contract value with about a $45,000 lifetime value. That's what we're focusing on as we bring it into the market. So it's a substantial window of opportunity for us, Jack. What do we do and why are we disrupting it? Very, very simple. We have a no-code indoor spatial navigation platform. I mean, full stop. You can go in, and I'll show you in our demo. It's so easy to just take a video, drop some location points, and add some augmented reality. And remember, NexTech's one of the largest, if not largest, 3D model factories on the planet. So we got a lot of content that we can package up and integrate. And part of the announcement today was all about how we've taken our wonderful ARitize 3D platform and now married it to our ARWay platform. So it makes it super simple for us to pull in robust content. We call these activations spatials because they literally take up space. They are, a length, a width, and a height in size. They can be several feet to, tens of, perhaps even hundreds of feet in size and scale. And why that's important is as a user, a visitor, or a viewer, you're interacting within that spatial, and we're gathering all that data. And that's what this is over here, Jack, the location intelligence. This really allows us to get deep insights into how consumers and visitors are actually utilizing content in the context of the brand or the property. So it's a pretty cool thing. So let's talk a little bit about this release. Basically, we have lived on the ethos that we wanted to build this platform to make it as simple as 1, 2, 3 to physically connect the real world with the digital world. And so how do you do that? You map, you then add your augmented content, and then you press a button and you publish. And so this little infographic here, Jack, basically just shows a very simple representation of an exhibit floor, a real world instance, a user here making a scan. Up here on the left is our app. We have an SDK that can publish to virtually anybody's app. We've got a robust and growing community of online creators and developers. And today I'm going to walk you through our web studio, which is super exciting. So a couple of highlights on the platform. We've basically got the portal now available for early adopters, a lot of wayfinding upgrades, full integration now with the 3D models. We've made a lot of updates to the administration, the location intelligence, but more importantly, we've improved the scalability of the map. So we're now at, Jack, over 1,500 square meters per map. That's basically like having a Walmart floor available to us to scan. And then on the app side and the SDK, we've launched the SDK beta program. We've got several early adopters active in using it. We've made multiple updates to the app itself. So everything from slam placement to full occlusion. And of course, as I mentioned, that 10x increase in the wayfinding. So really, what does all that mean? Let me just give you a very typical example. We literally have early adopters contact us and say, we want to onboard new employees. We want to make them familiar with an office that they just don't know where to get to. And so we created a similar use case here at NexTech. And so basically, oftentimes, depending on how you want to do it, you can produce a little bit of a storyboard. We call them experience briefs, but you don't have to. In fact, I can tell you most of the creators that use our platform, they just grab a phone, they go out on the floor, make a map, and publish. But if you want a little more structure, you want to be able to pull in content, etc., storyboards are great. We've got lots of templates that our creators use. But basically, here's what we've got. On the left here, this is an amazing technology. Within our app today, you literally grab your phone and you take a video of the location that you want to produce the spatial point cloud. These green dots that you're actually seeing appear in the video are the point clouds themselves that, as we're doing a video, are in real time being updated to our web studio and creating a spatial cloud. And on the right here, what you're seeing is an image of our suite, basically our web studio, with a floor plan and all the little points that are placed on it. And what's super cool about it, and I'll just basically, hopefully this will pop open for me. Here we go. You still with me, Jack?
Yeah.
I think, all right,
Yeah.
good. I just want to make sure it's showing. So this is our web studio. This is what we announced release today. It's been in early beta for the better part of 4 weeks. Lots of good early adopters using it right now. I won't go too deep into this. I think in further episodes, we'll get right into the minutia of it because it's quite extraordinary, but it's 100% web studio. So you and I and others anywhere in the world can come in and actually co-create a spatial experience. And so really when you come into it, you pick your map, in this case, your location. And this is our office here. It's downtown Toronto. And you open the studio. And basically what happens is the studio will load up and I can basically take the point cloud. And I just built this out this morning. And as I come in, basically every area that I've got on here is available for me to edit. I can easily move around. I can put my pathways in place. I can show any kind of content. If I've got any form of mapping that I'm doing, I can literally click on it and I can get the images to show up in real time for me. So it gives me full orientation on what I'm about to do. I can play with any kind of content, text, audio, hotspots, 3D models. I can add multiple floor plans, and I can even put in different guided tours. So it works incredibly well. In this particular case, I might want to have a tour to the HR office. Here, I can literally go in and add any kind of content that I want. It can be people, can be products, can be holograms, animated objects, hotspots, you name it. And so, Jack, this is super easy. Anybody can get comfortable using it. Of all of our early adopters, they find typically it's about a 15-minute sort of 0 to hero ramp up time, and then they're in building their spatial experiences. And this office, just to give people a sense, is about 3,500 square feet. So it's very easy for us to build robust experiences, paths, navigation, etc. So let me just take us back into the demo here and show you kind of what this looks like. And so here on the right, you can see I've got a little bit of a video showing the floor plan, some of the activations, and all the content that's in there. And then here, basically, just shot this earlier today as I came in. Basically, I walk in the door. I'm that new employee. I'm getting onboarded. I'm looking around. There's me literally sitting at the desk. And, ultimately, you can see the spatials. We've pulled in some 3D content. It's actually an animated bear. It just comes in. We're walking in space with it. Just wanted to show people that you can literally pop it there. You get full occlusion with it at the same time. You can see as you walk towards a whiteboard, we're beaming in images of folks. We're actually, even no matter where we are in the room, we just click a button and we ask for an HR office tour, and it will literally locate that particular office and then give us a tour or wayfind us right into it. In this particular case, we can walk right in and introduce ourselves to Dita Constantine, our head of HR. So, Jack, is a lot going on here, but it's very easy. And I mean, this was literally produced probably 30 minutes before we went live. And then the final piece I'll talk about, Jack, and what we're really excited about, and we're going to talk more about this in the coming releases, is this idea of location intelligence, the ability to track and measure how the visitors, how the consumers are using the experience. And so you can see all sorts of content and activation analytics that we get, but more importantly, we get the heat maps, the localization, the time of day. So it gives us those dimensions to play with as we go through it. And then, as I've talked about, we've got an ongoing number of pilot programs and early adopters underway. I'm hoping soon we'll be able to show you what we're doing in Finland with a hospital. It's a phenomenal use case that I think folks will get really excited about when they see it. So, Jack, that's kind of a view from the top of the trees around what we're doing with this release. I think you can see lots going on. But that just gives you a little bit of a taste and a flavor for where we're at.
No, I tell you, what's going to happen is once this launches, the use cases are going to be incredible. Like, we don't even know how big this can get. Like, last time I think we talked about like just something that popped into my head, which is for example, like home, one of these big box stores like a Home Depot or any other place where you walk in, you're looking for something, right? And there's thousands of things, right? Like the other day, I was at a Home Depot. I needed to buy a thermostat, right? Yeah. So first, I got to ask somebody where it is, right? And I got to find it. And then I go there. There's like 10. There's like 20 things. I don't But with your device, basically, what happens is it can be very easily monetized. So in other words, I go in there, it guides me to where it is, and then when I'm there, right? Any of those people, whether it's Nest or I don't know, I bought a Nest.
You got it. Yeah.
They could all pop up, and each one have like an AR type of sales demo, because these salespeople at Home Depot, they don't know anything. I mean, like the guy says, "Oh, I'm just buying that." Like they don't. They just But imagine there's like 10 different brands, right? So each one of those brands, if they can explain the merits of their product, why this is better, that's better, and then you could have others. It basically becomes like the Google in the physical world. I mean, you're basically bringing that type of experience into
think about it. You're literally GPSing your way to either the product specifically or the product category at the Home Depot or at the retailer. And we've a couple of very interesting early adopters right now working on use cases like that. What I find interesting is they've bracketed it in the context of an asset allocation. So in other words, they're able to tag their assets and follow them through the supply chain and then have them resident on the box. And yeah, it's a very interesting sort of use case. And it does manifest all the way down to the retail store, but it begins all the way back in manufacturing. And so, yeah.
You know, Paul, I was just thought of something interesting. Okay, so the spinout's going to happen, you know, in the next few months, we're expecting, right? And, you know, again, what you're doing is essentially, you know, it's like it's the next version of GPS. It's like what GPS did, and, you know, for map, you know, basically change people's lives. You're doing that, you know, for the indoor mapping.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking is that, and I don't know, I'm sure this has come up, is look, the reality is, you know, because you're helping these companies monetize this, there's ads, sponsors, all sorts of stuff. You know, at some point, you know, one of these big mapping companies, whether it's Google, and there's a few players, right? There's a few key players. Yeah. At some point, you know, they want to kind of integrate this, but because the key part of it is having those creators, because you need those people to create those experiences. Yeah. If you can aggregate those first, you become a very valuable strategic acquisition for, you know, one of these big map guys. For Google, for them to write a check for like $1 billion or whatever it is, it's like, you know, that's not even their lunch budget. That's not even their coffee budget.
You're completely right. The creator community, I mean, we've a whole creator community portal that is launching with our website, principally for that same reason. It's a bit of a network effect, right? The more creators that are on the platform, the more they become attracted to it. And Jack, where we think we're going to see explosion there is once we work with our creators to show them how they can monetize. In other words, think about, you know, to your Home Depot, an influencer who knows a product category, who has a following, is now able to, with no code, the same way they do a YouTube video, to communicate to their influencers, effectively creates, you know, for lack of a better term, a meta tour in our context, and walks you through to that product category, advises you on the right product selection, and then basically gets an affiliate bingo for you buying on the spot. And once, you know, because that's exactly how their influencer models are working on things like YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. So, you know, it's no different within our world. And that's why it was very important. We wanted this to be a no-code spatial platform.
No, I think that's going to be a big thing. I think once you get a couple of, you know, I think once some of these influencers start, you know, adopting it, people love that. Again, we talked about this, I think, the first time we were on. Is
when you first thought, right?
Yeah. One of the big things on, you know, social media, whatever it is, and now that, you know, the Corona thing is over, is you know, these travel, you know, these travel influencers, you know, that's like the big thing, right? And this is a way where, you know, I mean, it's a huge thing, right? So this is a way where they could further monetize, you know, their whole business. I mean, they could actually legitimately, because, hey, here is, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to think who's somebody, Kim Kardashian. Here is Kim Kardashian's tour of Toronto,
right?
You know, and you know, she's got what, 100 million? I don't know, 100 million followers.
You're right. That is completely viable on this.
You know, and here is one of my favorite place for coffee. Here is where I get I get, and every time somebody goes, they get a, you know, penny from this guy, a nickel from that guy, you know, a dollar from they, you know, it opens up a massive world of possibilities. I mean, so this becomes super valuable. Hey, let's get into some audience questions first, and then we'll come back, because I want to kind of get some, I think, okay, so Doug in the Mud is that, okay. What are barriers of entry on this and 3D modeling business? What's to stop Apple or Google from deciding they want to enter this business?
Well, that's a very good question. You know, so we have a number of barriers per se in and around our technology. But, you know, ultimately what will win the day is usage. Getting it out through the creator community, getting it into the visitors' hands. And there's a couple of ways to do that. And, you know, why we believe we'll be very successful there is we're small and nimble enough to address that product market fit almost perfectly. And I'll give you an example, Jack. Today, we're talking and showing a lot about using the entire stack on your phone through a mobile app. Soon, we will have mini apps, instant apps, you know, essentially browser-based installs that don't require you to have an app. And you can have sort of an improvement in functionality as that functionality includes, but effectively it becomes seamless. So the quicker we can get into the hands of the consumers and the visitors that way, the better. And so we believe we're very well positioned for that. And then, of course, the final thing, and what we're all shooting for here, is that when platforms like Reality OS come out, Android's more ambitious Arc platform, we're perfectly positioned when we move to eyewear and low-cost, lightweight wearables to move around. And beyond navigation, it'll be the spatials, it'll be the full-on immersive experience. So we'll be there with a full tech stack, full client set, full creator community.
It's interesting, and this is, again, we're getting very close. The Apple glasses. This is the big thing. We've been saying it. We've been waiting for it, and it's. I'm keep reading articles. It's supposed to be coming out now Q1 or next year. Yeah. So we're about 6 months away. They're already talking about prices, whatever. And this is going to be, again, this is like going to be the next big thing. Here's what's interesting from an investor standpoint. Should we bring Evan back, because I want to. We'll have audience questions, and he could talk about really, because I think he can add to this, because it's
sure. Bring him in.
Let's see if is Evan still here? Evan, are you still there?
No, here I am. I was just having some lunch, but fascinating listening to Paul. Gets me super excited, and reminds me about how you mentioned GPS. And I remember, how that started out with like a box, a TomTom.
Right. A big box you can put in your car. Yeah.
And then it's now moved to the phone, and it's in every car and every device, and that's kind of the journey for, I think, this the spatial computing platform. But it's just the tip of the iceberg right now. It's literally just starting. And if you look at the big players, you have Microsoft investing billions. You have Google investing billions, not to compete with us, but to create platforms that we can lever off of. And we do. Paul, what do we use right now? Microsoft Anchors, right? Yeah. So we're already using the latest and greatest technology that Microsoft spent billions to create in our tech stack, to create these experiences, to have the spatial computing platform. Apple is the next big player to drop the glasses. And again, that's going to stimulate even more adoption. And so my point is this, Jack. Here's my point. When you look at NexTech, we're the smallest player in that group. We have the highest ambition. It's just the way our DNA is. We're very ambitious. Paul's very ambitious. I'm very ambitious. Jack, I think you might even be very ambitious. So we're very ambitious, but when you look at the rest of the pack that we're running with, I mean, it's sometimes I have to remind myself how small we are. But when you think about it, to have a small player in the same race, and I don't even want to call it a race, maybe it's more like an ecosystem, as a Google, a Microsoft.
It's a pure play. I mean, this is going to be the ARWay. I'm going to call it ARWay because it's going to be the first pure play in this thing. And I think when the Apple Glass comes out, this is going to be probably one of the most hottest applications, because this is what people want. There's so many possibilities. And again,
I was just going to say, I keep looking for comps, right? Yeah. And I keep looking. I don't know. All I can find is Niantic with a $9 billion valuation, and that's about it. And I mean, you can't really compare us to like a Microsoft, but when you think about NexTech and you think about ARWay, it really is an opportunity for retail investors to get that pure play. I mean, I'm fully invested. Paul's fully, as a company, we're fully invested in this, and it's just a very, very exciting moment in NexTech's history, I think. And this doesn't even speak to the 3D modeling business, where everybody knows we just landed the biggest, site on the biggest e-commerce marketplace player, Prime.
The whale.
The whale. Even today, I think there was a report out from H.C. Wainwright, and they actually named it, they called it the Amazon Prime Marketplace, which, I'm not going to disagree with the analyst from H.C. Wainwright, but
we can't. Basically, the bottom line is for anybody watching is we can't use certain names of companies because it's they may not like it, right?
But the analyst can say
the
what
analyst
he
can say
wants.
whatever he wants, right? I mean,
But I think, Paul, one of the things that excites me the most about NexTech is that all of these customers that we've signed up for Map Dynamics, for ARTize 3D, and it's a long list.
Yeah.
We're talking thousands. All those customers, and some of them are quite large, including the Prime Marketplace, including Kohl's, Crate and Barrel. We've mentioned a lot of these names before. Even Westfarmer in Australia is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. They're all going to want the ARWay technology that will be able to have a built-in client base, right? I mean, do you see that happening, Paul?
100%. So, even as early as this morning, I was on with one of our partners in Ireland who work extensively in the EMEA region. And coincidentally, our CB2 relationship with them, kind of bumped in. And next thing you know, we've got their full retail, our e-com and 3D modeling. It's a perfect marriage. And, that's basically, we're picking that up on Monday and running pretty hard with it. So, yeah, we're seeing it all the time. I was saying to Jack earlier, as I was waiting in the lobby, I'm getting leads showing up and, people are literally messaging us saying, hey, I'm building this. I need to wayfind on that. Can I download the SDK? I know it's in beta. How do I get early access? And this is for a large retailer. So it's, we're just, it's full on. And I think, as I said earlier, the visitor market, I know I probably wouldn't describe it that way, but if you're a visitor, which is all of us, you just saw that ideal customer profile that we have, right? There's well over a million 3 identified targets right now that we're basically going into. And so, yeah, we get really excited about this. It's
I would also add, Paul, that the team that we have is a seasoned team of technologists. I think our go-to-market strategy team is a couple of Deloitte superstars, right? That we recruited a while back, from Deloitte. I mean, what do we have? A dozen developers that are just grinding
and growing.
And growing, yeah. And we're leveraging NexTech sales and marketing, and so this business is getting lifted up very, very quickly. NexTech took 4 years to get to where it is. ARWay is going to do in like 4 months what took us 4 years, is what I think is going to happen because we're leveraging.
You've paved the path. I mean, NexTech paved the path, and now these other baby unicorns you're launching, it's much easier for them because you already have all the learning stuff has been done already. Right. And I think, look, the big thing I think which is going to really move everything is going to be the glasses. When Apple Glass comes out, all of a sudden, NexTech is going to be seen as a much more valuable company because essentially you're dominating this whole AR space with between the spatial mapping, product stuff. So it's good. People will get it. At this point, we're still a little bit early. And it's interesting, Evan. When you mentioned the TomTom thing, originally the GPS was developed for the military, right? The whole idea was it was the U.S. government developed GPS. It was for the military, and if I remember, that was the big advantage.
Sorry, dog in our office.
Oh, okay. So the big advantage that the U.S. Military had, I think it was in the first Gulf War, was they were the only ones that had GPS. And at that point, it was like a little box you had to carry, like a little thing, and it was the whole thing, and it was a game changer, right? And it's interesting. I think now, with this spatial mapping, where you can plot, there's also going to be these military applications because, like, look, you have a war going on in Ukraine, right? I mean, like, it's all, part of the thing that's a game changer is the use of drones, right? Like, I was at a conference. I think I visited the NexTech. I think it was a conference. It was a drone company that were on right before Evan gave his presentation, and their whole business was, hey, we're selling drones to Ukraine or whatever it is, right? This thing is the same thing because now, let's say a scout goes out, he maps the thing. Hey, here is target X, Y, Z. And now, listen, the problem is in in a battlefield, people don't have time to think. If you have the glasses and it tells you here is go here, go there, it's a game changer, right? I mean, that's going to be, and again, the reason I mentioned the military is because those are the guys that have all the money.
Yeah,
I mean, if you can get contracts from the U.S. government, Evan, I don't know if were you there when I was talking about the kind of the military applications potentially with
Look, Jack, that again, this is the applications are endless. I mean, Paul is fielding.
You got the Army, you got Kim Kardashian. I mean, it's endless.
I mean, I mean, it's the military obviously is, but you just think about all these enterprise clients, every building, every airport, every university, every venue. I mean, this is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity that has emerged, and we just happen to be in the right place at the right time. We acquired ARWay last summer from two teenage genius kids. I'm going to use that word loosely, and we but very talented, yeah. And we took that technology in-house, we put our team on it, and we've now commercialized it. And that's really the story,
Let's get to some audience questions. Do you know if Matterport customers have inquired about ARWay?
Short answer is yes.
I think there's like a natural fit between Matterport and ARWay.
So, there's a number of interesting both extensions and collaborations, but I'll give you a very interesting example. Again, I was on the phone today, and room scale size floor plan, like I showed you of our office here, for 2,500 square foot condominiums. And so you literally place it, you walk in, and now I'm room scale, right? Because I'm looking at basically buying a condo. And then I press a button, and just like you see in our platform, the walls come up. And then I walk forward, and I'm able to put chairs, tables, couches, all sorts of stuff. And Jack, I'm telling you, it's crazy what people are doing with this platform.
Oh, and I'm thinking, it's interesting. I mean, again, the applications, like Evan said, they're endless. Because I mean, you're talking about like the Matterport thing. Look, there is, in these big construction projects, and like there's a huge hotel going up, nearby, and I see like in the morning, 5 a.m. they got cars lined up to get to the site. There's got to be 1,000 people working on this thing, right?
Right.
And those guys, they need to know where to go, right? Like it's a huge building, right? It's a huge, 50, whatever. So if these guys had the glasses, I mean, massive applications.
Even Jack,
you talk about I mean, it saves so much. I mean, even Apple, they have a massive campus. They got, what is it, like that old, is that, they got like 10 million people working there. And, they got the scooters. Imagine if everybody had the glasses, they got the glasses on, they got the NexTech, the ARWay, and they can drive around on the little scooter and know where everything is. They get, where the espresso machine is, where they get the free massage.
So some of our early adopters, Jack, are doing exactly that use case, but through the phone. And so when you think about it, if you're an employee,
the phone is a stopgap. That's for now. This is what we're dealing with.
Bridge, right?
Yeah,
it's a bridge. But the truth of it is, the use case is very, very compelling. You're coming to an office building that you're not familiar with. You're hoteling now because of COVID, right? So you would normally come in 5 days a week. Now it's maybe 3 days a month. You don't know where that meeting room is, and you don't want to be fustering and you basically want a link in your meeting notice that you click on, and it brings up the AR wayfinding through multiple floors and multiple buildings directly to that location.
Okay. Like one of those meeting things, like the call.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's a crazy market.
If you think of all the doctor's appointments that you get, if you all the people that go to the doctor, and you get this link. So all of that can now be done using the ARWay system. It is just, again, like I keep saying, the tip of the iceberg. And
I just realized, Paul, I think this is going to be the key that could drive the adoption. Is if people get the meeting notice, whatever, meeting appointment, and now it's a text on their phone. All they do is just click that link, and then it takes them into on their phone the ARWay, and that's it. They don't have to think about it.
You got it. That's it right there. Yep. And then the best part is, in this case, hospital or office staff are the ones making the maps.
Or anybody. Hey, meet me
what it
here.
is.
Meet me, whatever. You want to
Right.
send a message to someone, meet me.
There's
Like,
no
there's
coding
huge
involved.
complex.
Right.
Boom. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the same thing exists for, if you think about resorts, you go to Disney, you go to the zoo.
Yeah, instead of them giving you a map. Oh, Evan, this is, again, here's another. Imagine Disney. Disney's whole model is to basically, grab people by the ankles and shake all the money out of them, like hold them upside down, the parents. And because they have these huge resorts, right? They basically want to monetize like every square centimeter. And if they give people, instead of a map, hey, here is a little map of, instead of they give them this, hey, follow us, and here's a hidden thing, and here is where we have, you can buy ice cream. It becomes it could generate billions of dollars for these.
It just dawned on me, guys, as we're talking, right? Imagine you being able to take your Google GPS map, right, and create your own. That's what this is. It's the create your own, okay, so you have like a map. You go from point A to point B. Right now, you just type in the address or what have you, right? But you don't really have control over the map. Like, you only have control over typing in an address, right? But imagine I said to you, Jack, you know what? You have total control now. You could literally just drag and drop a pin on the map and then send that to me, and I'll be able to find you using this augmented reality. So that's it's the next generation of what we all use every.
It's social media. It's a map version. It's a social media for maps, basically. In other words, you're basically like the Facebook of map. I know it sounds crazy. I don't want to sound like
you are getting crazy, Jack.
It is but it really is, because it's user generated. It's decentralized. This is where the world
wants to go. That's
now it's no more the map is controlled by, I don't know, who is it, Hammond Atlas Company, whatever they made. No, now it's the user that's making the map.
That's it.
Here are the things of interest. And they're sharing it, and it's basically it's social mapping applications. This could be like such a massive thing, because here's the crazy thing: we really don't know how big this could be, because look, Facebook and Google, when they started out, if anybody, they didn't have business model. No, they had a very cool technology, as cool as this, but they didn't know how to monetize it, and they didn't know how to sell it. They didn't know what. All of a sudden, now there's a million ways to monetize. Same thing with this. Like, you have a very cool technology, and like we're just talking right now. Like, this is like just a random conversation, but there's a lot of very, very smart people out there that are going to come up with applications. Especially again, the big catalyst when those glasses come out. Right. Actually, we don't even need the glasses, because as Paul said, with the phone, with the
So I want to just double down on that. So the glasses are definitely going to turbo boost a lot of industries, including augmented reality. But the magic of our tech is that it lives inside of your phone, and there's billions of installed users already. Right now, think of the glasses. You need billions of glasses in market to equal the billions of phones that are in market. Not everybody's going to have a pair of these.
No, I wouldn't buy it. Yeah, but who knows? But the phone is already, we have a built-in.
It's already there. It's already in everyone's pocket. And
all they need is a link. Basically, somebody sends them that link. Sales appointment. Whatever, doctor's appointment. Boom. Here is where it is.
Yeah, I've never seen anything more addictive than the cell phone. It's more addictive than any drug known to mankind. Like, it's just staggering how much time.
No, it is. It is basically. I think the doctors have said it's more addictive than cocaine, because it's people check 100 times a day. It's like they can't stop. Great question. Roughly, what percentage of those expressing interest in ARWay are converting into customers? What's the pipeline? Use case adopt. What's the pipeline? Paul, what is the pipeline?
So it's growing. We are still in the early adopter phase. So, we don't have a hard number on conversions yet. But I'm just going to wager it will be very high, likely well over 50%. What we're doing currently is, we're spending the extra time, the quote unquote measure twice, cut once, with these early adopters, because they're informing us of the product roadmap from the 15th of August onward. So the current early adopters are the ones that are using the tech today. And it's not limited. You can do quite a bit with it, but it will be finished its build cycle by the 15th of August in general availability and release. But we've already got substantial efforts underway for co-development and, further product roadmaps. So, some of these are just, they're very substantial in size, so I'm going to wager fairly high conversion rate for sure.
Great question from Jeff. What are the catalysts in the upcoming weeks? I guess it's a question. I don't know if Jeff is he asking about NexTech or for ARWay? Maybe both.
Well,
so I'll let both of you answer.
It has to be NexTech because ARWay is not public.
Still in NexTech.
Yeah. I mean, look, we continue to sign deals with small, medium-sized, and large whales, I would say, customers. These are e-com sites that do anywhere from 50 million to many billions in revenue. And so from the standpoint of our 3D modeling business, we're continuing to see that scale. ARWay is still, as Paul mentioned, I think that the site hasn't even been released yet, right? It's still in stealth mode. Yeah. So it's still very early there, which, is the time when you can get in and make some, outrageous gains. And then you have our Map Dynamics business, which is now starting to show record-breaking revenue numbers. And so when you look at, our business in the middle of August, roughly, mid-August, we'll be reporting our Q2 numbers. We'll then be, 6 weeks into Q3. And at this point, I've said this a few times, to me, the train has left the station on 3D models. The floodgates are open and the adoption has begun. And so that's not going to stop for at least a decade. Like, it's a decade-long mega trend, and we're like in the first inning of that, right? And so I look at that and I just say, okay, it's just a matter of time as our snowball continues to grow, our snowball of customers and revenue. It just continues to grow into a bigger and bigger number, month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year. And then along the way, we're going to have these spinouts, ARWay, and there's some other really exciting, cool tech that we're cooking up in our R&D lab that we're going to be sharing in the next couple of weeks on this show. And most of it is driven by AI, if not all of it. AI is, I would say, the game changer in the world of technology today. It's not just NexTech, it's globally. AI has changed the game. Artificial intelligence is going to allow technology to go beyond anything we've ever seen up until now in our lifetime. Quantum computing is going to be driven by AI, where you'll just be able to make stuff out of thin air, essentially. I mean, it's gonna get, traveling to Mars. You can't do any of that. All the stuff that Elon Musk works on, and everything Amazon, all the big tech companies, it's AI. And so we have an AI-driven R&D lab that's geared towards Web 3.0, metaverse solutions, and the such. And so those things are still under wraps in stealth mode, but we will be revealing some of that soon.
But Evan, I think the key thing is, look, one of the reasons the stock has been lifting in the past, weeks is I think investors are realizing that NexTech is really kind of at an inflection point where it's moving away from kind of the legacy, the original, not even the business, but it's sort of like the butterfly. First it's a caterpillar, then it's in that cocoon, whatever, then become. So right now the butterfly is already breaking out. So you had the caterpillar, that was the e-com business, the others, and now
you're talking about our transformation.
Transformation. Literally a transformation phase where now value is being unleashed. People are starting to see, okay, these guys have a lot under the hood here. They got the AR maps business, ARWay. There's other potential spinouts. And here's what's interesting. Once you announced that you were getting out of the e-com business, the stock took off, even though that was like a $20 million business that, a legacy business, which, it's a low margin business. The market loves the high margin SaaS business, the 3D model business, and everything else. So this is what, the market.
And we love it too. And I just want to, again, double down on what you're saying. We patiently waited to exit that business until the timing was just right, because in the stock market, really everything is driven by timing, right? So the timing now is perfect for us to transition and transform into a pure play. The timing was not, in 2020, the e-com business was exploding. Obviously, that wasn't the right time. 2021, the e-com business was still doing pretty well. 2022, huge supply chain issues. That business really needed to be exited, and it allows us. And at the same time, while that was happening, the 3D modeling business took off, and there you have it. The timing, right? So the market matured for 3D modeling, and the e-com business kind of ran its course. So yeah, the timing's perfect.
The key thing I need to emphasize is look, the whole idea with NexTech is this is one of the few companies, the few public companies where every CEO says they're focused, shareholder value. No, but this is literally, this, anybody watching the stock in the last few years they've seen that, you've been absolutely focused. Every decision has been around maximizing shareholder value, whether it's acquisitions, this, that. It's all been about how to maximize shareholder, and they're seeing, action. It's not just words or whatever. They're seeing actual, action in the market, whether it's spin outs, whether, creating, whatever it is, but it's always focused on how to maximize the value for shareholders. So that's,
I mean, that is my job. And I would say we made some tough decisions recently, some strategic moves. Again, exiting the e-com business was one of them. We only just recently announced the spin out of ARWay. That was another one. And then I would say the third thing we've done is the shares for services for our employees, which I don't think anyone realizes, but it's reduced our burn now down to around $500,000, if you could believe it, from where we were. We were, way up in the, last year we had, I don't know, 2-3 million. I'm talking, like per month. It was a massive burn, and we've taken it all the way down with this shares for services. It was a sub $1 million before shares for services. Now it's about at $500,000, which means that our capital requirements have, diminished dramatically. We don't need to come out and raise any money. We're not going to be selling any shares to raise money. We're not looking to do any kinds of financing, at least for the next 12 months, maybe forever, depending upon how these businesses develop, right? Because it is driven by how fast these businesses can gain traction and develop. And so from a strategic point of view, we've never been better positioned as a public company than we are today. And I just, I couldn't be more excited and even more relaxed about where we are. I always felt kind of this monkey on my back a bit. And now it just feels like we've finally shaken that. As a small cap public company, it's a very rare thing to be saying what I'm saying, where we don't have to raise money.
Yeah. So, okay, big. We should emphasize this. So basically, there is no capital raise, and most likely not for at least 12 months. In other words, this is right as of right, not for 12. And again, I want to emphasize that pretty much when that question has been asked before, you've delivered. In other words, it was never a situation where you said, "Oh, we're not raising capital," and then 2 weeks later,
it's not even,
like some companies out there.
But it's not even like, forget the lip service. We've made material strategic changes to our corporate structure that allow me to say it. It's not just like, oh, we don't need to raise money. No, we've pivoted our business model so that we don't need to raise money, right? It's not like me just saying it. It's literally completely transform the business, right? Like some people just can say it because it sounds good. I'm saying we've made some material changes to our business, which allow me to now say, like, I mean, you could do the math yourself. So the point is that NexTech's never been in a better position. And with the spin out of ARWay starting to gain in momentum, it really does set the stage for an exciting second half of 2022 and a really, really exciting 2023 and beyond.
Okay. Evan, on that note, let's wrap it up, and we'll catch up with you guys again. The next big news announcement, whenever that is, maybe next week. At the rate you're going, at the current pace, it could be Friday. So, thank you again. Thank you everybody for the great questions, and we'll see you all on the next live stream.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.